So you've got a Sunday starter?
I hope so.
Okay.
Do you want to know who he is?
Yeah.
Well, as of now, it's going to be Bryce Bonnin. Trying to, he threw great last weekend. He's had a couple of good outings after, just an okay outing in California, and we need to see what he can do as a start. We know he can come out of the pen. He did a great job a week ago, and so last non-conference series, and just feel like we need to give him that opportunity. And if you look at his numbers, he's earned it.
You got a lot of freshmen who've got kind of comparable numbers, no runs allowed so far. What have you thought about how that group of pitchers has done?
Well, as a whole, they've been great. A lot of times you go into the season hoping you can get something out of a couple of freshmen, and hopefully they can handle it right out of the chute. A lot of times those guys will come on for you at the end of the year. It's been good for us to see those guys pitch so well early. If we can spread out those innings and keep them fresh, we feel like they'll get better and they'll be able to last all year. And because, in the past, just experience, I've seen guys do pretty well and then fade at the end if they're a go-to freshman. And, I don't feel like we have to go out there and just depend on somebody to give us 7 innings every week or 2 relief appearances, because there's other guys that can pick them up.
How do you think Isaiah will handle earlier day with a doubleheader?
I think he'll be fine. Looking at the weather 3 days ago, we could kind of see this, and we talked with, Kent State about it and kind of gave them a heads up, and they were good and they appreciated that we did that. We're not trying to play games with anybody, and it wouldn't be right if they bullpen their Saturday guy, and instead they got to, at least they knew what they needed to do, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And but I think Isaiah should be fine. It's a day earlier, and he'll get the opportunity to watch the first game and see what they're all about like normal. Just has to pitch maybe 24 hours sooner.
Do you pitch Murphy in relief or save him for Texas?
If we need to pitch Murphy, we'll pitch him. We're going to do what we can to win the ball games, and if it's a critical situation, we bring him in for an inning or a hitter or whatever we need to do.
Is there any change to the preparation or anything like that going to doubleheader?
Well, I guess just a little bit. You might take off a little bit of the running and slow things down a little bit, knowing you're going to be on the field for probably 10 hours tomorrow. By the time they get here and they leave it at night, they'll be here a good 10 hours. And, today's practice will be maybe just a touch shorter than normal. Yesterday's, thinking there was a possibility of this, we didn't maybe do as much conditioning, just knowing that we might have to put a lot of energy into one day.
I think Fletcher and Shaddy will be back in the lineup this weekend?
Yeah, planning on it. those guys needed to sit down and slow the game down in their mind a little bit and realize it's just baseball, and they're pretty good at it. They just, sometimes you start to wander a little bit and wondered if you can play or hit, and we all know they can, and they know they can, and I think they'll both be ready to go tomorrow.
Dave, their first 3 weekends, they've gone lefty, righty, lefty all 3 weekends. Is that what, has he told you that's their plan? Or?
Yeah, well, they're going to go lefty the first game. We're going to go the righty the second game. Then when we change things to a doubleheader, now he's got TBA the next 2 days. So I guess that would probably tell me if he's got a chance to win game 1, he's going to do whatever he has to do. And or if he wins game 1, maybe he switches it up a little bit. But they've won. I guess they lost their first weekend series on the road, and they were all tight games at Sam Houston, and won the last couple of weekends anyway with a couple of wins. And just calling around on them, everybody tells me they're a very veteran team. They're an older kid. I mean, they start a senior and a redshirt senior, so that's 5th-year senior and I think a sophomore. So, and the sophomore had incredible numbers last year, and so it's going to be a good challenge, a good series. It'll be like playing USC again. If we don't play better than we did against USC, we'll have a hard time winning the series.
What kind of style? Do they run, their power?
They've got 3 of their guys that'll run anytime. They're just tough outs. They've hit some home runs, but 5 or 6, not a bunch. But they just try to capitalize on your mistakes, is what every coach I've talked to told me. So we need to play mistake-free baseball. We don't need to walk them and make them earn everything they get.
Have you seen something different from Rutledge as far as his command goes from what you saw in the fall?
In the fall, I think he might have been overthrown a little bit. Now he realizes that he's got a good arm. He can get it up there when he needs to, but if he just lets his body work normally, he's going to pitch 93, 95 right now, easy. If he wants to muscle up a little bit, a lot of times when you do that, your velocity goes backwards. But I think that his command is better. And, for him to come out and pitch twice last weekend with 1 day off in between, that showed me something. That showed me a guy that can obviously pitch twice on the weekend and maybe close a couple of games for us.